Good morning, everybody. We're going to get started. Good morning. Couple people still coming in. So if you don't know already, my name is Sarah O'Connor, and I am your senior warden for a little bit longer. Not that I'm counting or anything. Bill had the idea today that we have a before and after picture of our senior wardens and our junior wardens to see the aging process. So I really just wanted to take this time to thank everybody for coming. Either you stayed late or you came early, but we really do appreciate your time, and we're going to try to make this as informative and brief as possible. So thank you.
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, ruler of all things in heaven and earth, hear our prayers for this parish family. Strengthen the faithful, arouse the careless, and restore the penitent. Grant us all those things necessary for our common life, and bring us all to be of one heart and mind within your holy church, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Good morning. Before we elect the new members of the vestry, I want to just give a sincere thank you to those who are stepping off the vestry. I'll invite Sarah and Dave to stand up. This is the part where you clap. Sarah and Dave have both been serving on the vestry since before I got here, and have been serving as senior and junior warden for the last year. Dave is junior warden for 2 years. So they're a big part of the leadership at Nativity and a big part of making this place work. And so it is a big loss to have them stepping off. But we believe that other leaders will rise up. So I'm not too worried, and I'm grateful that they get a little bit of time to rest and do other things. I believe that both of their spouses would prefer that they not volunteer for anything else in the next few months at least. But thank you both so much for all you have done to ease my transition into Nativity, to make this place, and to help, to keep things running and going and moving in the right direction. You both have been tremendously supportive of me and tremendously critical to our life here at Nativity. We also want to thank David Dykes, Charles Malone, and Morgan Bosch. Many of you know Morgan only was able to serve a year because she and her family moved up to Virginia, where we wish them the best. And David and Charles are both have family obligations this weekend, but we are grateful for all of their service on the vestry and looking forward to welcoming in new people to the vestry. So another round of applause, please, for all of our vestry members. I should also acknowledge that it's possible that David and Charles and Morgan are watching online. So if you are, thank you for your service on the vestry and your commitment to us. We do have some new vestry members that we will be nominating in a moment. If any of you are good at math, you'll see that there's 5 people going off and 3 people coming on. What does that leave? You're so good. So we have 2 vacancies still on the vestry. In discernment with the leadership team, we decided that rather than kind of trying to browbeat people over the last week to sign up for those 2 slots, we have between now and January, when the new vestry is seated, that we would just sort of allow you all to discern if you might feel called to serve on the vestry in some capacity or another. What we have talked about as a community that we need is we have a great vestry now. We are a little light on families with young kids and people connected to our youth. That's always hard because they have a lot of busyness outside of this place. We are making adjustments to how the vestry meets and organizes to make it a little bit easier for families with young kids to participate. So if you feel called in that way, it's always helpful to have somebody with a legal background on the vestry, and that's a piece that we're missing. So if that is, again, something that you feel called or knowledgeable of, that would be particularly helpful. And finally, losing Dave, we lose our strong connection to the Buildings and Grounds team. I recognize that that is the group most ripe for insurrection. So having somebody on the vestry who is connected to Buildings and Grounds that really make this. I've been in a lot of churches, and a lot of times Buildings and Grounds is just a group that writes checks to other people, and here you guys do a ton of work on the property, in the building, in the spaces, and so it's really helpful to have somebody on the vestry with that connection. So I just offer that up there for all of us, and if that doesn't resonate with you, but you feel like you might be called to the vestry for other reasons, it's always good to have people with a chaplain's heart, a prayerful heart to serve on the vestry as well. Would love to be in conversation. You can reach out to myself or to Dave or to Sarah or to Hannah. Did you not hear what I was saying? Okay, all right. And with questions about what it is to serve on the vestry. With that, I'll hand it over to Dave for the election of our new vestry members.
Good morning. I got double duty today because I'm the vestry rep, and that's why I forgot to do the cushion. And yes, thank you, Ed. I appreciate coverage. So, election of new vestry members. We have 3 nominated, 2 of which are here today. Scott Beaver, if you would come forward, and Jim Ingram. Randy Smith, not the one up front and center, the other Randy Smith that sits down about. We have 2 Randy Smiths. One is called the Younger. I'll let you figure that out. There. So Randy couldn't be with us today. He's out of town. And just FYI, he's having surgery, I believe, towards the end of next week. But he's very active in the Buildings and Grounds team also. So we have, we need to take a vote on accepting Jim and Scott and Randy as vestry members. So I think that's just a verbal vote. Would somebody like to move for the election of Scott, Jim, and Randy?
So moved.
Ed Mussman moves. We've got to do this for the minutes. Seconded? Oh, there's a whole lot. George Douglas was second. We'll second that. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes carry it. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Please. And now, Sarah and Gray are going to recognize all of the different team leaders that we have. And this is where I think that we start to understand all the support that goes on around us to make everything happen on Sunday and for youth formation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
All right, so as most of you know, our church is sometimes referred to the Church of the Activity, and I think you'll see why in just a few minutes. So if I call your name, please stand, and then if you are serving on the team that I call, would you also please stand? So our social justice team, which is led by Becky Showalter. You can... outreach team, which was led by the late Pete Crow, and now is being led by Lillis Ward. Memorial Garden, Ed Mussman. You can keep standing. We want you to stand the whole time. And if you're also on any of these teams, you can keep standing. The IT team, which I think right now consists of Alfred, and we are very thankful for Alfred. There he is. Oh, good, thank you. The Creation Care team, that we do not have a chair right now, so if you're feeling led to do that, we would love to have somebody step up. Our Building and Grounds team is led by Steve Dirth and Dave McKinnon. We can wait and clap after, it's a lot. Our Communications team, which is led by Gail Christensen. Our Finance team is Bill Senna. Our Altar Guild, Robin Rainey and Mary Hilmer are leading it. Flower Guild, Elsa Tessier. And our acolytes are led by Alicia Lester Bodford and Jeremy Kloss. And if you are an acolyte, I don't see, well, maybe there's a couple. If you are an acolyte or a lector or lem, please stand also. Youth and Children's Formation is led by Jeremy, and if you are a teacher or a volunteer with that, would you please stand also? All right. Now Gray's going to take over. No, keep standing.
Our fellowship team is led by Sheila Knapp. And our ushers and greeters are led by Eric Knapp. And if you are an usher or greeter, or if you have helped with fellowship, also please stand. The hospitality team is led by Gail Till. Stewardship team is led by Emily Jividen. Pastoral care is led by Elsa Tessier, as well as the Helping Hands packing team is led by Elsa Tessier. Our caregiver support group is led by Emily Phillips. Our veterans group is led by the Reverend Ryan Parker. And if you're involved with our veterans group, please stand. If you're involved with our veterans group, that's you, Chris, stand up. Our welcoming team is Cheryl Wechter, Sarah O'Connor, Lillis Ward, Yvette Smith, Joe Dykes, Becky McKinnon, Julian McKinnon, Beth Crow, Marie Berry, Catherine Maddox, and Carrie Parker. Please stand. Our process and documentation team are Hannah Harris and Susan Kelly. Our 40th anniversary video team are Robert Joynes, Stephanie Sumner, Beth Crow, Gail Christensen, Sarah O'Connor. Our foyers group is led by Gail Till. The senior luncheons are organized by Ed Mussman. And the choir is led by Christian Schoen, and there's many choir members here, so please stand as well. So if you are involved with any of the ministries mentioned, so if you're on the SUSO group, if you do creation care, if you're on buildings and grounds, please stand. Some of you aren't standing, but I know you're on particular committees. It's okay. So this is just a really helpful representation of how many people are involved in different things here, involved in large and small ways in making Nativity what it is. So thank you all. Please give yourselves a round of applause. And if you're interested in getting involved, you can be seated. If you're interested in getting involved in any of those things, you know who to reach out to. And if you want contact information for them, please reach out to the office. We're happy to share that as well to get as many people involved in these different activities and programs as possible. So thank you all very much. And I will hand it back over to Sarah and Dave for their warden's reports.
So when I look back at 2025, there are some highlights that really stick out to me. There's no way I could mention all the wonderful things that have happened here over the year, but these were just some things that really stick out in my mind. We are gearing up to celebrate our 40th anniversary in January, and that's a really big deal. And I hope you guys have been looking at the videos that we've been posting and learning a little bit about the history, hearing from some of the founders of our church and their children, and learning about the different outreach that we do. I think that's really important. I've learned a lot by those. We have been blessed with some wonderful, wonderful new additions. The Reverend George Black, our new curate, Josh Anderson, our new office manager, Christian Schoen, our organist and choir director, Monique Holmes, our business manager, and Kate Mohan, our intern. I mean, that's a lot of new people to start in 1 year, so it's been amazing. We celebrated our first that I can remember, and a couple other people couldn't remember any others, our first community-wide event, which was Springfest, that we had back in May. It was a lot of fun, and we had some members come, and we had some people just from the community at large come, and it was a big success. We celebrated our homecoming and pig picking in September, which was very well attended, even though the rain kind of smushed us all inside together, but it was wonderful. And a group of adult pilgrims led by Jeremy traveled to the United Kingdom, and they traveled to sacred sites in northern England and had a wonderful time. Our younger pilgrims traveled to Massachusetts and Maine, and they learned about being good stewards of God's creation and just appreciating the beautiful scenery and everything that they did there. One really exciting for me, and I think for everyone, thing that we've all noticed this year is we have had an increase in our attendance. And a lot of churches cannot say that right now, and we are very proud of it. So Dave was nice enough to put that little bar graph together that's in your packet. The comparison of the first 3 quarters of 2025 to 2024 show an increase of 23% for the 8:30 service and 12% for the 10:30 service. That's really significant. I mean, I think that is something to be really proud of. Quarter 3 leveled off a little bit, but I think quarter 4 historically will pick back up. So that is definitely something, and we're very, very excited about the welcoming team that we've gotten going, and we have a plan in place for when we see new faces in the church, what to do and how to make these people feel welcome, as well as how to make people who have been here a while continue to feel welcomed and continue to feel like they are important to our church. We've also seen a positive trends in adult and children formation. There are adult programs. You can't say there is not something for you. There are so many adult programs happening. They're happening Sundays between services. They're happening Wednesday nights by Zoom. We have an adult confirmation class coming up. We have Episcopal 101 class coming up. So there truly is something for everyone. And children's formation, Jeremy has really done an amazing job at meeting the children where they are. So he's he's done a great job of talking to them and talking to the parents and finding out when is the best time for us to meet. And it's not the same for everybody. I mean, so the children's formation, as you guys know, happens during the 10:30 service. The middle school formation is happening between services. The youth or the high school formation is happening Sunday evenings. He has club for middle school. I mean, there are so many things going on. So just like with the adult formation, if they can't find something for them, that's not Jeremy's fault. He has done everything he can. And we are seeing some trends in formation that are also very, very positive. So if you're measuring the terms in terms of engagement with the formation activities relative to membership roles, a larger share of our members are actively participating in formation programs across the board. So I think, once again, a big thank you to Jeremy for that. Thank you. Now Dave's going to give his report.
Thank you, Sarah. See if I can't find. All right, I'm going to talk about a couple of things, but I'll start with buildings and grounds. It's been a quiet year. Not much has gone on. We had to replace one of the HVAC units. minor, but thanks to all of the people that donated, and we also were able to file an insurance claim, which we didn't realize until Carl Terry pointed out that he was pretty sure we had equipment failure insurance, and by golly, we do. Yeah. So because of that, our net out of pocket between the insurance claim and your donations was like $493. We've done a lot of other things too as a buildings and grounds team. Installed handrails so people don't fall down or getting up back and forth. We've painted all of the sanctuary exit doors because they looked old and grimy. Every single fluorescent light bulb and incandescent bulb in all 3 buildings has been replaced with LEDs. That saves us money, and that was paid out of money that was in a creation care fund, so it didn't hit the operating budget. That's what we try to do. We've got new sideboards for the narthex now, so that's starting to look pretty good. New seating for Estel House. There was a donation of a couch, and we were able to get a couple of chairs over there. We've got the community garden cleaned up. It was a terrible year for just the weather, and the weeds just took over our lawn at home as well as everybody else's. So that's all good. The memorial garden, we've expanded the plantings in there. It's on a longer term thing. Plants take a long term to mature and start to flow, but we're getting there. And Gray made mention of this. We do lots and lots of minor repairs. We don't call the plumber. We get ourselves, the buildings and grounds team, together, and who can do this? Who can replace a toilet? Who can replace a valve in a toilet? There's a lot of electrical light bulbs that have been not just replaced, but the fixtures had to be replaced. So all of those things, rather than calling and paying trip charges and writing checks, we're doing it ourselves. That saves us a lot of money. I'd like to recognize some of the buildings and grounds folks. We've got weekly weeders. Some of you might not know that, but the weeds get pulled around here. So that's Mari Bolstelman, Linda Fernez, Leslie Trohan, and Lillis Ward. I think I got everybody there. The B&G team consists of Steve Dirth, John Fernez, Ed Mussman, Rob Peterson, Randy Smith the younger, and Leslie Trohan. But we've got a big village of people that have kicked in throughout this year. Matt Hitka, John Oldham, Viola Baldwin, Liz Chi, Beth Crow, Renee Garces, Susan Edwards, Robin Mussman, Tom Phelps, Yvette Smith, Regina McDuff, Joe Ward, Meredith Watson, Lori Special, Molly Taylor, Sam Wisongo, Perry Schneider, and even Gray. Father Gray. And we were sorry that Chris Christensen decided to retire from the buildings and grounds team. He's been the glue for many, many years for this team that's kept it together, and he always brought the greatest snacks. Thank you, Chris. Okay. One of the things that the diocese, when they sold their building downtown, they had all these extra funds, and so you could apply for money. So we applied for a grant for revitalizing our facilities. We applied for just under $23,000. We got approval about 10 days ago for $7,000. Seven. So we've had to reprioritize what we're going to spend that money on. So one of the things, and push back at this, but we wanted to finish off the narthex here and put a mural of our oak tree against one of the walls here. We're also looking at replacing all of the flooring in the narthex bathrooms and hopefully the narthex itself. And the third thing that we think we can get in is restriping the parking lot so everybody knows what parking spots they're actually in. Sometimes it's hard to find. And we'll also designate a couple of visitor spots because we used to have those apparently, but I can't find them. So that's what we're going to do with that $7,000. It hasn't come in yet, so we'll check on that. I also wanted to update you on the First Korean Baptist Church expansion. Everybody's seen all of this stuff going on over there. You know that the road that we come in on? Well, that actually crosses their property, but that's an easement. So this is one of the areas we need a lot of legal assistance because easements are a tricky little thing. We have actually, because we're landlocked, we have a whole bunch of easements that are small little slivers of land around of our neighbors. But as far as the Korean church is concerned, we've met with them a couple of times. We're going to meet with them again next week. Gray had asked that they move the construction sign, and that I noticed that this morning. It got moved probably over the last couple of days across the way. They have approval for site work. The last time I checked with them, they did not have approval to build their building. So we got to figure that out. During this process, they've asked if we could give up some parking spots. Now, their service starts at 11:30. Ours starts at 10:30. We're out by 12-ish, so there's a little overlap. But there's two strips that I think we could probably give them 19 parking spots rather than having them sneak back and forth all the time. So we're looking at that and seeing if that's viable. We would not make that available to them until the new year because we got a lot of activities going on through Advent. They've also asked us that easement, which is ours, and we're responsible for maintaining it. They've asked if we would participate with them in sharing the cost of repaving that. That's a lot of money. I don't know where that's going to come from, which will lead into the next little segment I want to talk about. We don't know how we're going to do that one yet, or if we can. But that's where we are today. We're meeting with them a week Friday, and we'll see. There's a couple of other alternatives we want to talk about. Now, I just want to talk about stewardship. Emily's doing a great job leading the stewardship team. We had a great week this week. We've now at $218,000, and I did notice a pledge card in there. If any of you haven't pledged yet, I have pledge cards with me. Please see me. Let's get these filled out. You can see that based upon all of the activities that everybody's involved with, that it is really a village, and it takes all of us to make things happen around here. So, and our volunteering spirit helps to keep our costs, our operating costs, really, really low. If we had to get all these contractors in all the time, we would have to add significant dollars to the operating budget. So as the 2026 operating budget gets put together, Bill's going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. We got to account for inflation, staffing additions. We've added Reverend George. Somebody's got to pay for him, and that's us, ladies and gentlemen, as well as physical plant issues. The Curry Hall HVAC systems are original. They had to get recharged with Freon, or whatever the material is that they're using, for the first time in 15 years. So that's maybe ominous. Everything is getting older around here. So we're going to have to figure out how to put money aside to take care of that. So every pledge that people make goes to cover costs that we do not have the ability to volunteer for. Think about that. That's how much volunteering we do. And as I said, I've got pledge cards, or if you got your phone with you, I've got a QR code on the back. Questions, comments? All right. I'll turn it over to Bill, I believe.
Normally I would stand up front, but this is being recorded and is online, so I've realized that you have to talk into the mic, but I don't need the box. So I'll thank Dave for the intro. I was like really worried about getting up here and like kind of being a downer, but hey, my news is going to be good compared to that. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks for setting me up well, Dave. Appreciate it. So there's, if you look at your packet, I'm not going to review a ton of numbers. If you would like to, I have them. If you have questions, but in the interest of time, simplicity, and getting the messages out without getting lost in the numbers, I'm going to focus on 3 areas. So I start off with there. The first thing is our financial position is steady. You heard from Dave some of the challenges we're having or that we'll be looking at, but we are in a steady financial position, all right? It's not fantastic, it's not terrible, it's where we've been, and I'll talk to that in a few moments. Our income continues to grow. It's more than it has been in the past, but likewise our expenses also continue to grow, as you would expect with inflation and a couple other things. I'll talk to 1 or 2 of those in a minute. And then my last thing is not to commit to anything, but to start asking some questions about how do we evolve our financial structure. Because I was actually going to tell you some of the stories that Dave was just telling you, but he already told them. So he set me up very, very well to go quickly. So I get the message. I'll go quickly. Now, so the first thing, if you could, it's a little bit bigger on my piece of paper, a little small on yours. So what I didn't realize is the little quarters at the bottom aren't really showing up on your paper. So really to orient yourself, this is 2022 in the first box, 2023 in the second box, 2024, 2025 in each of the subsequent boxes. And each of those bars is 1 quarter's worth of either income or on the next slide expense. So just that's what it is. It's the last 3 years. It's all post-COVID. Every year we get up and we're like, hey, we really need you to donate. We need you to sign up. We need you to pledge for a stewardship campaign. And there's a really important strategic reason behind that. So if you look, our total income so far this year is around $452,000. Our budget is just over $500,000. So we've got a ways to go, but we've got 2 months left. Okay, no big deal. That's right where we have been. So if you look at my A's, right, our Q3 income is stronger than it has been the last 3 years. So we're doing better. This is typically our worst quarter, which is right out at the end of the summer. We're coming back. That's when we bring in the least amount of money. But this year we brought in more in this third quarter than we have in the past. You'll note that Q4B is really small, but that's just 1 month out of 3 months, okay? So don't read too much into that. But it does say that, hey, we've got a little bit of a ways to go, and we are about 54,000 behind in our pledges. Our regular givers is a little bit higher than it has been, but we are behind in pledges so far. What does that mean? Typically, when we get to the end of the year, about 50% of the pledges that people have made are met at the amount that they said. Then there's some people, because you have different circumstances, people moving in, moving out, some people that are able to give more than their pledge, and some people that are not able to meet their full pledge. So about 25 to 30% give more, about 20 to 25% give less. In the net, we're right about where we pledge. So this year, we're not quite there yet. We've only got about 35% of the people who pledged right at their normal instead of 50%. Everybody else is a little bit behind. So there is a little bit of an urgency in terms of the last 2 months of the year, but we're still, as I said, in a steady financial status. So if you go to the next page, it kind of segues into our expenses that have gone up. So if you look at those bars, they are all relative to each other, same dollars over there on the left. Those bars are bigger too, just like I said. So they're all higher. So if you look at my first comment, our total expense so far this year is already above 500,000, but we've already only brought in that 452, right? So that's what we said. If you look at that last bar to the right, that's where we are and what we need to get to. My A floated off. I'm sorry about that on the slide. I don't know what happened there. So our pattern is very consistent, though. All right, there's nothing really unusual with how the money is flowing this year relative to how it flows every year. So why is it that when we get to this point in the year, everybody's feeling anxious and we're feeling like, what's going on? Why are we kind of stressed and why are we in a problem? I'll get to that on the next slide. I just want to point out a couple things. I'm not going to go into the numbers. The places that are higher than expected so far this year, in other words, we've already spent our entire annual budget so far. Bookkeeping and audit related to our turnover in both staff and the transition of rectors. Supply personnel is a little bit higher, just basically those two areas. Lower than expected lay salaries because we've had the churn, so we had the benefit of that, and the diocese kicked in some money for the Reverend George Black for this year. So flip to the last graph, so my last picture, and you'll see that we've got some ups and we've got some downs. And it's very much, and I'm not demeaning the worship cycle and relating it to the retail cycle, but it's very similar to the retail cycle. The holiday season is good for us, okay? So we have a big bump in November, December, and January, and we operated at a deficit in the 2 quarters in the middle of the year. So that is strategically so that when we get to stewardship time, we're feeling the pressure. Okay, I know that it was set up that way. No, it's not really that way. That's just the way it works with how people give their donations and then how we spend the money. So we have a very consistent spend throughout the year, but our donation cycle is not consistent. So we are always, if you look over the last several years in the middle quarters, we're always operating at a net deficit in the middle of the year. So when we get to this point in the year, we end up behind. In January, February, and March, we're always ahead. We're always feeling good. Oh, things are going great. Okay, so it's not that we are in a bad place. We are in the normal place for us to be at this year. It always gives us angst for good reason. Now, this is going to lead me into the last part that I wanted to talk about. So it kind of sets us up for the discussion points. First thing, though, what can you expect for this coming year? So we do have a lot of new staff, but we've got some new people in place. Alfred's put some new systems in place. He is really critical to our infrastructure and our process, and he's been integrating things, so big shout out to Alfred for the work that he's been doing. Making it easier, making it less prone to human error, making it much more visible to everybody in terms of inspection and oversight, so we're meeting all our commitments or our requirements from the audits. So that's the first thing, and the second thing. And then we will be looking at streamlining payment systems. So right now we've got lots of options. Lots of options means lots of work. It also means lots of opportunities for us to have errors, inconsistent reporting due to timing, et cetera. So there are some options that we'll be looking at, like, hey, can we centralize our giving through a different system that is going straight from banks, things like that. So we'll explore that, but it may be a much more streamlined and easy for us in the future. Those are from an operations perspective in 2026. From a strategic perspective, there's 2 problems: month-to-month cash flow and the fact that we're exercising insurance options that Dave just talked about. So we've been set up very well by Mike Grady, the former treasurer, by John Oldham, who redid our mortgage last year, by all the other folks, many of whom are here in this room before, that set things up like those insurance policies. When the tree came, big tree, not little tree, very big tree came crashing down a year and a half ago in the playground, took out our fence, half the playground, that was covered by insurance too. The air conditioner that after 2 years, we finally gave up on that. Like, it wasn't like we just turned around the first time something went wrong with it, we replaced it. That was covered in a large part by insurance. But what we're having to do is exactly what Dave said, is like when something comes up, we have to ask. Right? We do have some capital funds, so what's not reflected in that $505 that we spent is deferred maintenance and long-term maintenance and some other spend many of the things that Dave was talking about that have come out of some of our standing accounts. So the first thing is we do need to, in all probability, well, I'll just say it, not in probability, increase our capital reserve. So we have a bigger cushion. As our expenses get bigger, our existing cushion isn't growing with that increased expense. And it's not just coming from our regular donations. We're doing a really good job at we're bringing in enough money to get our operating expenses. If you think about your household finances, it's doing a really good job. But do we have something in the deep pockets if something happens, like another church in the diocese where their roof collapsed? Like, can we respond to that, right? And that's kind of the definition of health. Can you respond when something comes at you that you're not expecting, right? So that's the first thing. Accelerating our mortgage reduction or payoff. As we said, it's our 40th anniversary. This building was built right around 2000, I believe. Many of you were here. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The most recent building was built in 2010. That's 15 years old. We're at 25 years on some of the mortgages, and it includes our HVAC addition. But what would getting rid of the mortgage, which is our mortgage payments are around $42,000 out of that 515 or so budget, right? Annual mortgage expense, if you look at my note here, and it's small, so I'll read it to you, exceeds worship, parish life and pastoral care, outreach, and Christian formation combined. Those are the things that are important to us and why we come to church. But we pay more than that for their buildings. Okay, so that's why it's important in the long term to address that, because it enables us to do things we want to do as a church. Okay? Then the last two things are a protected endowment, a capital reserve. Think of that as quick and easy, and we can use it for whatever we want. A protected endowment, is something that people can give to long term, and that gives us a much longer view in terms of our planning and what we can do, which leads us into that last item, which is what do we want out of our campus? I've had multiple visions. When we were in COVID, the thinking across the country was churches aren't going to need physical facilities because they're all going to go online and people are going to do it when they can and stuff like that. And some of that has come to fruition. We do online. We have permanent online attendees. But not all of it. We still like to get together. That's just a very basic human need. We want to get together and worship together. And so what is our campus going to look like in the future? The Korean Baptist Church is a good example. They're expanding their building because they know that they want to bring their kids in and have a better facility instead of the trailers they were using. We did the same exact thing here. We used to have trailers. Many of you know about that or are here. And now we have a nice education building. So what do we want in the future? The buildings are getting older and they're costing us more. That's not going to go away, and that will impact our operating funds. So these are the big questions that we need to look at as a community and figure out how do we want to address them. Do we want to do a capital campaign? Everybody kind of goes, do we want to do something else? Or are those of you that are so inclined and willing to say, hey, over the next 5 to 10 years, hey, I'm willing to put into an endowment because I know it'll grow, and that's the key is we need income that's coming from sources other than regular giving. That's a more sophisticated foundation. That was my initial point when I started out. So with that, let me just leave you with this. We are in good financial standing. We are at the place that we are normally at. However, we do need November and December to be strong giving months, and please pledge. It's never too late. As I was looking at the pledge report last night, I went to the pile of mail that we haven't looked at in a month, and I finished my pledge too. So thank you very much. If you got more questions on the details, I'm happy to answer them afterwards. Other than that, have a great rest of your day. Oh, wait, Reverend Gray is going to close us out. You need to stand it.
I want to thank everyone else for taking up all the time so my report can be short. Again, a round of applause for our leadership. They've really done a wonderful job. And I'll just kind of reiterate, the good news is attendance is up, giving is up, participation is up. More people are involved and getting engaged with Nativity, which is wonderful to see. It makes my heart warm, and it hopefully makes your hearts warm as well. We have our 40th anniversary celebration coming up in the new year. Bishop Curry will be with us for worship that Sunday and for an evening program as well. He's excited to celebrate with us. Many of you know that we are, at least geographically, the closest church to his home and a place that he has a fondness for. And so we're grateful that he's willing to come and celebrate this momentous occasion with us. And I'm grateful for everyone who's given so much to this church over the last 40 years and been able, and that we are able to lift those stories up and name those things as we're going forward. It's really, really great to see. You know, I think in terms of what we see in the church now, we have a lot of young kids in Sunday school. We have a lot of teens and preteens in our middle and high school programs, a lot of youth and energy in the place. So this is all the good news side of things. There's no bad news in the Bible, so I won't say bad news, but I'll say that we have growing edges as a community. I think those growing edges are that you heard as we lifted up our leadership in the church. We have some needs there. We have, again, 2 spots for vestry members. We really need someone who feels called to lead creation care and think about what it means to do creation care post-COVID, to do creation care in a world focused not just on environment, but on justice and the environment. And we have some concerns and questions about financial stability as the church grows and becomes bigger. Those swings become bigger. So how can we better establish our own financial stability, dealing with the mortgage, dealing with endowment, and setting up additional funds and resources to make that happen. And right now, our finance team is pretty minimal. So we would also be looking for people. If you are someone who either personally or professionally does a lot in the world of finance, is interested in being involved on our financial leadership team, that would be extremely helpful as well. And as Dave alluded to, we have a few challenges with our neighbors as well, and with the city in terms of this easement. I gather that along with some of the other challenges we've been talking about, are things that have been, we've always known they're there. They're challenges that have always existed, and we've just kind of kicked the can down the road. Eventually the can goes in the gutter when you do that. And so we have to, I think, stop kicking the can down the road on some of these things and begin to take some proactive action on setting up some better leadership and organization internally, dealing, once and for all with this easement issue, so that we're not always fighting with a neighbor. As I alluded to in my sermon, and will allude to at the 10:30 sermon, God doesn't want us Christians to fight amongst each other, and so finding ways to be in community is a much better solution there. And so we have, some growing edges in our community, but mostly the news is really good news. So what's next? You might be wondering. In the coming year, we have our 40th anniversary celebration, celebrating all that we've done for the last 40 years, including many initiatives around justice and outreach and creation care and many other things. And then we'll be sitting down in the season of Lent and beyond to contemplate sort of what do the next 40 years look like. What's the next 40 years look like for Nativity? Where are we as a community feeling called to be active in the community outside the church, to be active here? What kind of ministries do we want to lift up? And how does everything we have, our property, our buildings, our people, our resources, how does all that support those desires? And what more do we need to do, or how do we need to reorganize, reimagine ourselves for those new challenges for the next 40 years? And so I'm working with the vestry and some others on what that sort of contemplation looks like, but look forward to some gatherings in Lent and beyond as a community, in smaller groups and large groups, to really consider and ask, what do we feel called to as Nativity for the next 40 years of our life? I won't belabor my report any longer, but I continue to be grateful to serve with you all, and grateful to have been treated so kindly over the last year and change by you as we've gotten settled here. My family is very grateful for the support and love we have received from you all, and I'm grateful to continue to serve as rector here and to lead this congregation. So please, again, thank you all for your time for this annual meeting. If there's not any other additional questions or comments, we're all good? Anything else? We will close the meeting and begin our worship, but please, another round of applause for our departing leaders. And for all of you, for all you do to support this place. Thank you so much. Let's pray. The Lord be with you. We give you thanks, O God, for the gifts of your people and for the work of many hands, which have beautified this place and furnished it for the celebration of your holy mysteries. Accept and bless all we have done, and grant that in these earthly things we may behold the order and beauty of things heavenly, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. Just take a minute to gather yourselves, and we'll begin our worship. Thank you all.